Welcome to this week's episode of the program. This is the Gavel. I am Benny Ark. Amidst the growing concern over insecurity in Nigeria and the increasing need for more effective localized security measures, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, former President Goodluck Jonathan, federal lawmakers, security agencies, members of the diplomatic corps, and prominent traditional and religious leaders gathered for a crucial one-day event. This event was a policy dialogue focused on exploring the implementation of a state policing system. Here is the report.
Tackling insecurity.
Former Head of State General Abdulsalami Abubakar, former President Goodluck Jonathan, federal lawmakers, security agencies, members of the diplomatic corps, traditional and religious leaders were among the attendees at a one-day policy dialogue on state policing system. The event, which was organized by the House of Representatives and the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, comes as the National Assembly prepares for another round of constitutional amendment.
Introducing multi-layers of policing could lead to fragmentation of authority, with different agencies competing with resources and jurisdictional control. This could result in a confusion and inefficiency in law enforcement efforts. Critics also fear that decentralization of law enforcement powers could increase the risks of abuse of power by local or state-level authorities without adequate oversight and accountability mechanisms. There may be instances of corruption, political interference, or human rights violation. Given Nigeria's diverse ethnic and regional landscape, opponents caution that multi-layer policing could exacerbate existing tensions and inequalities. There is concern that certain ethnic or regional groups may feel marginalized or unfairly targeted by local or state police forces, leading to social unrest or conflict.
There are lots of people who are very, very anxious that the police be reformed, that the police be given more powers, be given more responsibility. Perhaps that the way to go might actually be to decentralize the police in a way that ensures that the decentralization of the police safeguards it from abuse.
The prospect of a state-level policy architecture, which is at the heart of this dialogue, is paramount, given the imperatives of addressing the scourge of crime, insurgency, and various forms of violence that are impacting on Nigeria's development trajectory, thereby presenting a threat to the well-being and safety of all citizens. Excellencies, as we explore the prospects of state-level policing, I would like to also reiterate the multidimensional nature of security that challenges all of us to significantly address the complex structural root causes of insecurity. It is on this basis, Excellencies, that I would like to commend your administration for outlining the 8-point plan under the Renewed Hope agenda.
The discussions surrounding the potential introduction of state police demonstrate the complexities and challenges inherent in addressing security concerns. Let me underline at this point that the question of how to structure the Nigerian police, whether through a federal or state structure or both, is one that only the people of Nigeria can answer. In my home country, Germany, each of the 16 federal states have their own state police, their own police laws, and their own police training institutions. We will hear later in the conference in more detail about our experiences with this structure from my compatriot, the former German IGP, Mr. Seeger. Until then, suffice it to say that we have made both positive and also other experiences with state police.
In the previous assembly, the state police bill was rejected by federal lawmakers who feared that the state governors may abuse the system. Grounds appear to have now been shifted, just as former heads of state throw their weight behind the creation of state police to address the security concerns across the country.
As we explore the models of state policing that have been successful in other nations, we must be judicious in adopting these frameworks to fit our unique Nigerian situation.
We are not going to debate, and we should not waste our time debating whether we should have state police or not. Listening to the speaker, he gave the history. Even in this country, we operated it before. Why is that the military scrapped it? because of the abuse. And that is the area we should concentrate on.
As much as we are talking of establishing state police, we should also look into the role vis-a-vis of our royal fathers.
The police and its parent ministry, however, appear not to be in accord on the creation of state police.
I would emphasize that state police can enhance local responsiveness, improve crime prevention, and strengthen security at the grassroots level. I would recommend an institutional and legal framework that delineates the roles, responsibilities, and jurisdiction of state police forces within the broader national security architecture.
It is the submission of the leadership of the Nigerian police force that Nigeria is yet to mature and ready for the establishment of state-controlled police. This is due to the underlying reasons. One, there is no adequate resources in place for police infrastructure. Again, there is potential for abuse of power by state political leadership.
For President Bola Tinubu, who was represented by his vice, state police deliberations must be thorough as his government anticipates resolutions from the engagement.
The President deserves commendation for his openness and proactive stance towards the idea of reforming and decentralizing the police force. The concept of state policing is not merely a policy proposal, but a potential milestone in the evolution of our law enforcement framework. It offers the possibility of tailoring law enforcement more closely to the diverse needs of our communities. As we discuss and debate its merits and challenges, let us remember our collective values and diversity. As Vice President, I am deeply invested in the outcomes of today's discussions. The insights we gain will inform our administration's approach to supporting legislation that not only enhances the capacity of our police force, but also strengthens the bonds of trust between law enforcement and the public. In our deliberations, let us consider the implications of state policing from multiple perspectives. We must evaluate its potential to improve response times to emergencies, adapt to specific local challenges, and increase accountability.
The event breaks into sessions, with participants recalling that state police has been a subject of debate in Nigeria for many years. In the last administration, 25 states delayed consideration of the Constitutional Amendment Bill sent by the National Assembly, insisting that the National Assembly must include the establishment of state police. Also, the immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari had openly rejected the idea of a state policing system.
Against the backdrop of Nigeria's persistent issues with unreliable power supply, the House of Representatives Committee on Power organized a meeting with stakeholders to address the country's transition to a multi-tier electricity market. Take a look.
Nigeria's migration to a multi-tier electricity market was in focus as the House of Representatives Committee on Power hosted a stakeholders interactive session. The arrival of the Speaker of the House signaled the commencement of the event. The Chairman, House Committee on Power, kick-started the interaction and was followed by his counterpart in the Senate.
It has become necessary for stakeholders to address the envisaged challenges which is thrown by challenges facing Nigeria and to chart a course for seamless transition to a multi-tier electricity market in Nigeria. We all are aware that no legislation is perfect until it's put into operation. On this note, I want to honestly appeal to everybody to come with a clear mind for us to receive feedbacks on where we are and where we are to go. We expect the best from this summit, from this dialogue. We will continue to engage because the power sector appears to be occupying the space of the communication worldwide.
I would simply say that this matter of power, I've been in this power committee in the Senate. This should be my 12th year as a member of the Committee on Power. Caller knows. And we seem to always come back to be doing the same thing. So I'm very happy to hear from the minister that you want to break the jinx.
The Minister of Power and the Vice President, who was represented, spoke on the multi-tier market system and the new Electricity Act.
A lot of the turbines are down because there is no money to service them. The gas supply is inadequate. How would they produce to what we expect them to produce? So now to talk about the transmission sector. We have witnessed incessant collapse on transmission. It's nothing but lack of adequate infrastructure, dilapidated infrastructure, old and archaic infrastructure that have been installed 50, 60 years ago, in the days, since the days of the ECN, which is the Electricity Company of Nigeria, the days of NEPA to PHCN, before the unbundling of the sector. I once said that on my visit to some of these substations, I noticed a transformer installed in the 60s, carrying the logo of ECN over 50 years ago. How will that support the transmission sector? We lack the adequate technology, we don't have SCADA, and there's also no backup of failover grid if anything happens to our national grid. These are the shortfalls in the transmission that we must fight. We have investment proposals for establishment of 3 gigawatts, which is 3,000 megawatts of solar energy source across the 25 states in the north and the southwest.
The wholesale structural shifts that the Electricity Act 2023 as amended and the associated constitutional amendment usher in means we need to double down on ensuring an orderly transition to a new national electricity market framework.
The event was formally declared open by the House Speaker, who outlined plans for a more coordinated process of tariff setting in the future.
I will sponsor a bill to provide administrative procedures that entrench proper consultation and legislative review of processes for tariff setting in Nigeria's electricity and other public services. Secondly, a phased implementation that involves the gradual introduction of market tariffs allows for adjustments and learning. Finally, continuous engagements with all stakeholders is critical to ensuring that reforms meet the diverse needs of the population and maintain public trust. As you proceed with the discussions and deliberations over the next 2 days, I would say better late than ever. Our commitment to transforming the Nigerian power sector into a model of efficiency and sustainability is unwavering.
Interactions of this kind are expected to guide the House as it carries out its oversight functions to improve electricity supply in our country and expose any form of corruption in the power sector.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Gavel. Staying with the ongoing discussion on Nigeria's electricity market, the federal government has announced plans to increase the power generation from 4,000 megawatt to a target of 6,000 megawatt by the end of 2024. Let's check out the report.
The federal government has concluded plans to ramp up power generation to a target 6,000 megawatts from 4,000 megawatts by the end of 2024. The Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, stated this during an oversight visit of the Senate Committee on Power to the Federal Ministry of Power and the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, in Abuja. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Power re-echoes vows to investigate the tariff system in the nation next week.
We are doing so much now that people may not immediately see, but we believe that it is preparatory to achieving adequacy, stability, and functionality of the power sector. I've told you the fact that we are ramping up generation, and we have a target to achieve, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, the 6,000 megawatts of power. before the end of this year. That's the target that we have submitted to Mr. President so that we can improve supply to households. And this we are doing through our hydro and the solar plants. But the first thing which we also need the support of the Senate Committee on is to pay down on the outstanding debts. To pay down on this outstanding debt. Because naturally, as a supplier, if you did not pay for my previous supplies, how do you expect me to continue in production and in distribution? So we want to appeal to the Senate Committee to also help us put pressure on the government to ensure that we pay down on this debt. Then we need to revamp our government plans.
This committee, pursuant to the resolution of the National Assembly, has already invited the ministry and its parastatals to come on the 29th for a very specific reason: the increase in tariffs with regard to the payment of power by Nigerians. And so we won't want to preempt that, because that's an investigative assignment that we have.
PDP lawmakers in the House of Representatives say they're given a 3-month ultimatum to the Tinubu administration to normalize the security situation in the country, after which the caucus will take further steps to sanitize and mobilize Nigerians to perhaps take their security into their hands. The lawmakers, led by the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Kingsley Chinda, reached this resolution after a closed-door meeting at the National Assembly. The caucus insists that the PDP in the House of Representatives remains united, despite calls by some other PDP lawmakers for the resignation of the acting national chairman of the party.
The government is therefore called upon to immediately take steps to ensure that the security situation in the country is normalized. And the caucus has also given 3 months ultimatum for government to normalize the security situation in our country. After 3 months, the caucus will take further steps to sensitize and mobilize Nigerians to perhaps take their security into their hands. The House of Representatives caucus also agreed to call on all party caucuses, the Board of Trustees, National Executive Committee, and the National Working Committee of the party to embark on reconciliatory measures with the view to resolve all litigations that are pending and that has hindered the party in any way whatsoever from having a substantive national chairman. We call on our leaders of the People's Democratic Party, to continue to demonstrate unconditional loyalty to the party and ensure that the party is moved to her pride of place, where she enjoyed the position of the largest party in Africa, and to take back the Aso Villa, which is actually supposed to be our birthright.
During an interview, Senator Mohammed Monguno, representing Borno North Senatorial District in Borno State, shared his ongoing projects to improve the lives of his constituents and more.
My constituency happens to be the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency. And as a result of that, there is a lot of devastation occasioned by the Boko Haram insurgency of our infrastructure. Our people have been displaced. Some are staying as internally displaced persons. Some have moved to other countries as refugees and what have you. And now, as a result of the zeal, the patriotism, and the sacrifice of the Nigerian military occasioned by the political will given by the last administration, the Boko Haram has been greatly decimated now. and people are now returning back to their respective communities with a view to picking the pieces of their lives. So as a result of that, my focus will be on coming up with a Marshall Plan that its philosophical cornerstone will be reconstruction, rehabilitation, and resettlement. That is going to be my focus, especially against the backdrop of the fact that the people are now going back to their respective communities as a result of decimation of the Boko Haram insurgency. So I'm going to embark towards that drive. I'm going to embark upon massive empowerment, training and empowerment of youths and women on various aspects of agriculture, so that, because my people are agrarian in nature, so train them, empower them on various aspects of agriculture that they are used to. And then because of the fact that our economy is in a very serious, is in a state of comatose as a result of the Boko Haram insurgency, this training and empowerment of youth and women will go a long way in revitalizing the economy of our area, and also the reconstruction of devastated infrastructure like schools, hospitals, and what have you will go a long way, not only in bringing back this infrastructure, but it will bring about a lot of multiplier effects, generate a lot of multiplier effects in the economy, because the youths are going to be busy in the construction projects and what have you. So it is going to generate a lot of multiplier activities with all its attendant advantage of creating employment and what have you. So my focus, in a nutshell, will be rehabilitation and resettlement, and this is purely as a result of the Boko Haram insurgency that has devastated my constituency. I am in the National Assembly for the past 20 years, before my graduation into the Senate this year. So all along I have maintained a constituency office in Monguno local government. It's in the state locus. And I have people that are resident in the place, in the local government, in the local government, giving me feedback on what is happening in my constituency. And whenever people have problems, they will report to them, and then they will communicate same to me.
That concludes our program for this week. Your feedback is valued, so please don't hesitate to reach out via email at thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for joining us today. This is Benny Ark signing off. Take care and be well.